Take some deep breaths together. 3. Moan it out the mouth. Good morning, my friend. Here on this misty, drizzly morning, thank you to this banana plant for giving me some ceiling or roof to prevent too much moisture collecting onto me. Thank you, banana plant. Something in 2020 that was a great gift to me was Natalia showing me the teachings of Sadhguru, who's an Indian man who posts a lot on YouTube. He's a viral yogic, spiritual philosopher, guru man. And I really enjoyed during the pandemic, he had this series where he would every Sunday live stream and he would do a sadhana. Sadhana in Sanskrit means, I believe, a focused discipline of acquiring knowledge or goals. And if you want to even simplify that or synthesize that, it means, wow, some squirrels chasing each other over there. That was cool. It means a wisdom lecture or a perspective enhancer or a talk, a lecture, in order to become a better, more wise, more knowledgeable, factual, understanding person on planet Earth. And I really loved listening to that, and Sadhguru taking just a few points that interested him that week, from COVID to politics to spirituality, yoga, mindfulness, economics, nature, literally just picking a few important points that Sadhguru was thinking about that week, or in this case, that I've been thinking about, and just opening up conversation, and then we can talk in the comments and increase all of our awareness and knowledge. And I'm a very agnostic person on almost everything. I have a lot of opinions, but I never claim them to be right or correct. That would be ignorant, because we all human beings think that their perspective is the correct one. So there's no way to know which one is actually correct. But I hope to think that I do think that I'm a logical, rational person, and I have a lot of beliefs, and I think I know I've lived a wonderful life. I love my life. Some of that is privilege and luck, and then some of that is my education and knowledge, and also probably inherent, I don't know, I think I'm a very confident, mindful person. A lot of the people I grew up with, friends, family, who grew up in my same situation in Los Angeles, they didn't go out and seek yoga, mindfulness, minimalism, haven't traveled the world and lived with people of every economic and social class like I have. And a lot of people I grew up with aren't as passionate about sustainability and nature. And I think that those are some universal truths. I think sustainability and nature is not just something that some people should strive for. I think it is a universal truth to be more connected to Mother Earth, to simplicity, to self-love, and I think that would make everybody happier. So I'm proud of who I am, and that's why I have the ego to start a YouTube channel and share my thoughts, and we can all chat about them in the comments. So today's the first day of the year. It's the morning of 2021. Time is a construct. Calendars are human created, but you know what? If we can use anything in this difficult life we're all fumbling and struggling through and enjoying through all of it, if we can use these markers as a way to continue and forward our lives in a more positive way, why not use them? Today's the first day of the year. Maybe I will go on a journey of morning sadhanas, these talks, together every day of the year. Maybe I won't, but today I'm trying, and maybe tomorrow I will too. I have some notes in order to keep these videos concise. And today's the first day of the year, so it's going to be a pretty broad one. And then day by day, we will go into more specifics on topical things that are happening throughout the week, throughout the month, in my life, in the world, maybe in your lives if you interact with me in the comments and we do that. So first off, some lessons of 2020 that I experienced. Everyone had a different 2020, depending on where in the world you live, your level of privilege, your family, so many different experiences. But my lessons from this 2020, I've been in Costa Rica all of 2020, except for one little trip to the States that I took. Or actually, might have been two. No, just one. My big overarching lessons of 2021 is that family and responsibility increases meaning in your life. I went from being a college student to being a solo traveler and having very little responsibility and connection to family because I was doing everything on my own. And by family, I don't just mean your parents or brothers. I mean community, tribe, a loved one, but also parents, family, yeah. Being accountable to people you love. And I am very grateful that I had all my solo nomadic traveling experiences. It gave me the freedom to focus on myself and really discover within what I want and need to live a good life. And I do not regret it for a moment. But the reason I stopped my travels a year and a half ago here in Costa Rica versus continuing to bike to Argentina for another year and a half was because I was feeling sensations of emptiness and of loneliness. And one of the things I wanted to manifest and bring into my life once I stopped traveling was more responsibility, planting roots, connecting myself to, of course, I was always on a mission while traveling, and that's kind of what I was connecting to, but more locally, more acute, specifically, you know, planting roots in a town, being accountable to a girlfriend or a partner or a tribe, community. And that is what I did this year, and I feel a lot better. It's just that time in my life that this really serves me, family and responsibility. So Natalia came into my life this year, the greatest gift I've experienced, my love, who I feel is my life partner. Of course, we can never expect what's going to happen in our whole life, but that is what she feels like this morning and right now. And being accountable to her and learning with her and from her has transformed my life in a massive way. For the last few years, I've been smoking weed and sometimes spliffs with some tobacco on a very frequent basis. And while I don't think anything is wrong in life, you can live however you want. All I care about is living a life that serves you to the highest degree of happiness, sustainability, of like true, you know, all I know is that there are times in life when I'm so excited to wake up and pursue my day and I feel lighthearted and happy. And then there are times when I hate myself and feel depressed and lack meaning and motivation. And all I know in this life is that I want to feel as happy and motivated every day as I can because it simply feels better to me. So if smoking cigarettes and weed and drinking lots of alcohol and being alone, if that truly makes you feel so good and you're excited to do that, I say do it. There's no right or wrong in this world. I mean, there is. You shouldn't hurt people and be violent, but every time I fill up my gas tank, I'm technically oppressing someone that had to take out that fossil fuel, and then I'm oppressing other beings by burning it. So like, we do violent shit all the time. We just say in society it's not violent to fill up your car, but it is violent to hurt another person. I think it's all levels of violence when you really think about it. But I think there's no right or wrong in this world. It's such a complex world. What you really should focus on is try to minimize your violence to others and maximize what makes you feel good. And it just so happens that being in a relationship and having Natalia and having the responsibility of having a partner and also having my land here. I purchased land thanks to the privilege of you guys supporting me on YouTube and my parents and family who have been helping me the most in order to accomplish these goals. Having this responsibility and having workers and being in a little town and getting to know my neighbors and my girlfriend, it inspired me to change up my flow of substances and say, hey, is this really serving me? Of course, it feels good in the moment to intake substances, but for the last 50 days, towards the end of 2020, I decided to take a break from that and see how it could change my life. And I'm 50 days completely sober off of any substance whatsoever, and I don't see myself changing it because I feel so damn good. And what I mean by good is what I was talking about. Waking up every morning, happy, lighthearted, giddy, motivated, or depressed, hating myself, life is difficult. And by being sober, I've dramatically increased my happiness, giddy, excited, able-bodied lust for life. And so I need to keep it that way. And family and responsibility is what allowed me to get to where I am this morning, and so I'm very grateful for that. I lost battery on this phone, so my notes do not serve me anymore, and that is fine. I can remember what my notes were. Next, lessons of 2020 is to increase mindfulness in every way. By mindfulness, what I mean is taking more focused care into all things you do. So every day you wake up and do actions. You cook food, you buy food, you work, you study, you interact with others, you breathe, you use your eyes. You do so many things. How many of those things are on autopilot, and how many of them are you taking a deep breath before and saying, is this the best use of my time? Is this serving me and the planet? And how much care are you doing with your actions? You can do 100 push-ups with bad form and hurt your back and not even strain your pecs very much. Or you can do 20 push-ups with increased mindfulness, protect your body long term, and even work out your pecs harder. Mindfulness always correlates and translates to better things. So if you're mindful about how you're spending your day and you really question yourself, questioning is mindfulness. When we don't question, we do stuff on autopilot, and then we can't be certain that it's the right choice because it's like we're on a conveyor belt that we don't even have control of. And we all know when you're on that conveyor belt and not being mindful, your life can unfold into something that you never even wanted to. But we have so many influences and pressures societally, from our teachers, from our parents, our loved ones. But really, if we're all gonna die, and in my opinion, there's no heaven, there's no afterlife. This is our one chance we got in this brain and life form. So why not live your best life? And the way you do that is to increase your mindfulness, take deeper breaths, ask yourself every day if what you're focusing on and pursuing in your career and your education is actually what you want to do most. We all have childlike desires. Mine, since I was little, they literally haven't changed. I've loved nature. I've loved moving my body, sports, cycling, plants, comedy. And those are the things that I bring most into my life, even today, because what's the point of living a life where you're not increasing how good you are at the things that you actually care about? So many of us have just been told we have to live a certain life, so we pursue and put our energy into things that, you know, get us by in life, but maybe is not our ultimate manifestation of what we would want to do with our lives. But what's the point in putting any effort into things that you don't really want if this is the one life you have and you know you're gonna die? And then once you do, what does it really matter? Bye, babe. Have a good walk. Natalia's heading down to the land. We're still at our rental house here. We're halfway through, my crew, building the home that we're building to live in on our farm and yoga, permaculture, self-love retreat center. But we're still at this rental house, which is just a little 10-minute walk from our farm in our little town here of Tinamaste in Costa Rica, southwest Costa Rica. And we have about 4 months till we move in. Just checking that battery's still going. Yes, we're still live, we're still going. So increase mindfulness. That is one of the great lessons of 2020 that I had as well. And there's even like more trivial ways to increase mindfulness, but that are really important. Like, you know how sometimes you stub your toe or get a paper cut or cut yourself while you're cooking, and it's just kind of shitty, it's annoying. When you're more mindful, if you go into every action saying, do this as slowly and precisely and professionally and with the highest quality you can do it, everything in life will be better. You'll injure yourself less. You'll be more conscious with how you act to your loved ones so you don't fuck up and just blow up in rage. Just increase mindfulness all day. From the moment you wake up, notice your breath. Notice the grace of how you put your clothes on, how you chop your morning garden herbs like I do to make your morning tea or concoction. Do everything like a Jedi Qigong master. Be mindful. Don't do stuff on autopilot anymore. Okay, let's completely switch the topic, because that's what I love about making videos right now and these morning sadhanas, is to try to talk about a variety of things, a mishmash of things. Let's talk about politics. Why not? It's the new year. There's a new president coming in. Something that annoys me a little bit, or something I just don't agree with, is a lot of people in my yogic, spiritual, vegan community think that politics doesn't really matter. It's just a show on mainstream media to get us all distracted from reality. I disagree. I think if you use public roads, politics matters. If you live in a country with free medical service, or like in the United States where it's privatized, that matters. If you or your loved one gets cancer and you're a lower middle class financially person, it really matters who your politicians are. If you're going to have the richest people through taxes fund your cancer treatment, if that's how you need to treat it, or Alzheimer's, or even breaking an arm, versus if you're gonna have to pay that out of pocket. Politics matters. Politics matters for immigration. We saw during the Trump administration people seeking, refugees seeking asylum from Central American countries being separated from their families and put in cages, versus politicians that would have had, in my opinion, much more humanitarian immigration policies. Education, we have the Trump administration bleeds corruption. He put people to be in charge of the EPA that have been fighting the Environmental Protection Agency. A man who has been fighting in the private sector to dismantle environmental regulations. He put in Betsy DeVos as the Secretary of Education, I believe her title is. She's been a rich woman her whole life fighting to privatize schools and not put in more funding for public education. So politics matters in so many ways. And my synopsis of Trump, there's a lot of people in my community who think, because CNN hates Trump and CNN is fake news and mainstream media, Trump is actually a savior trying to dismantle, the pedophile rings of the Democrats. In my opinion, Trump is an absolute monster of corruption. He's a greedy, self-interested person who has done terrible for the environment, terrible for lower income people trying to make a better lives for themselves when it comes to trying to dismantle free health care, public education. He's a pro-corporate, greedy, also racist fueling person. He has said many things. Hey, Maggie! To incite violence and racism. He's done it many times, and this video is too long for me to go into specifics, but even just the classic ones of there's good people on both sides during the Charlottesville Nazi rally versus another president like Bernie who would say, no, if you're chanting the Jews will not replace us, you're simply the worst people in this country. So politics matters. Come here, baby. Oh, I love you. You're my family. You've been my family this whole time. You're my daughter. You're one of my favorite beings on the planet. I love you, Maggie. Appreciate your loved ones too. Tell them how much you appreciate them. My life would be so different without Maggie, and having her is just a blessing every single second that we're together. And non-attachment. Nothing's more important than non-attachment. Loving the things you have and being completely non-attached to their continuation of their existence, because everything's gonna leave us. So politics, it's good that we finally have a Democrat again coming into the presidency, Biden, but him and Kamala are no bright and shining progressive saviors. You got Biden's crime bill, which incarcerated more nonviolent people of color a few decades ago than a lot of pieces of legislation have. You have him supporting our invasion of Iraq in the early 2000s, which turned out to be a terrible idea. He does not believe in Medicare for all. He does not believe in eliminating all student debt like Bernie does. So we still have to fight for progressive and environmental values. He's still a corporate hack who's not going to put the corporations that contribute most to environmental pollution and pharmaceutical greed, he's not going to put them to the test like a progressive like Bernie or Elizabeth Warren would have, but it's still so much better than Trump, the swamp monster who's out. Next, let's talk, this is the first sadhana of the year, so let's talk big picture COVID stuff. I believe COVID is real. I believe it is sad and also wrong at how much closures and lockdowns a lot of American cities have done. I totally see the scientific reason to shut stuff down and eliminate some social interactions in order to try to curb the spread of COVID. That makes total sense to me. But the year-long lockdowns, I bet when you put it all together, the amount of economic destruction that it has done to small businesses who lost their restaurants and shops because of these shutdowns in places like LA, where I'm from, versus the impact that COVID would have had when we see it's just a little bit more deadly than the flu, and 80 or 90% of the COVID deaths are like people in their 70s or 80s with diabetes or overweight with pre-existing conditions. I think that we should I think COVID is real, it is sad, it is dangerous, it's a crazy virus, but I think we should also do a mass opening up of our society, because the level of suicide and depression, of having your business be destroyed and not being able to see your friends, I think that is probably worse than spreading COVID more. I really do. And I might be wrong, and maybe let's talk about it in the comments. Convince me why I'm wrong. But I think it's time to open everything up and say people are going to get COVID and then they're going to get immunity, and we need to do that instead of keep shutting down society. I think the beautiful part about shutting down society and the economy with COVID is we saw an increase a decrease in pollution, and we saw like dolphins coming back to places that weren't there because we shut down our economic system, which is very bad for the environment in many ways. So at least that was a positive of the lockdowns, but I think it's time to open everything up. I think the vaccine is good. I think we should trust our medical professionals. I don't think the vaccine is these people saying, let's sterilize the population and let's control the minds of everyone. I think that's some bullshit conspiracy, guys. I do. I think the vaccine is simply the best solution our medical and science professionals have to get people immune and to curb this disease so that we can open up the economy and our world back. So will there be a percentage of people and young kids who get negatively affected by the vaccine? Yes, but our scientific professionals are saying that. There's always a danger, a small percentage danger to vaccines, but it's going to do so much more good in bringing immunity to people without getting the virus, that it's probably a good idea to get vaccinated when they're offering vaccines to you, which still for most people won't be for a while. First, it's people who are in the medical field and first responders. Then it goes to people who have pre-existing health conditions. And then it'll get to the general public. But I'm also an absolute hypocrite because I'm such a woo-woo, nature connected to my health person. Just the numbers, like I'm not afraid to get COVID. When you look at statistically, I'm in my late 20s, super fit and healthy. If I get COVID, it won't be a big deal. So I'd literally rather personally, and this is maybe hypocritical, I would rather get COVID, do my best to not spread it and get immune in that way and heal and get over it, than get the vaccine, because I just don't want to get a vaccine, and that's my own selfishness. But I'm encouraging you to get it if you feel comfortable getting it, and I think the vaccine is a good thing for most people. We're going to end this sadhana with a little farm update. What's the state of my farm and this retreat center project we're doing? It's an incredible state of action right now. My house is halfway being done built, so in about 4 months I will move into my home. We're currently connected to the electrical grid of Costa Rica, my municipality, and I do intend on getting solar in a year or two to make our land even more sustainable. But look online, just about 100% of the municipal city government energy of Costa Rica, when you're plugged into the mainstream grid, is generated by hydropower, which means we have so many mountains and so much water. There are turbines, like a windmill, but in the water, put into the streams and water sources of Costa Rica. And as the water comes down, it turns the turbine, creates energy, and that is nearly 100% of the energy that goes to all the homes and businesses in Costa Rica. So it's different than like being in the States, where your energy and electricity comes from coal-fired power plants and things that are increasing climate change. Hydropower does not. It's a very sustainable source of energy, so I don't feel bad being connected to the grid here, which is great. But we are water off-grid on our land. We have a spring, so the water from our showers, the water that fills the pool that we built, the water that we drink and water the garden greens, and when we wash our hands and cook in the sink, that comes from a spring of water spurting out of the ground. Just a quick walk from where my house is being built on our land. So we have spring water, no fluoride, untreated, just filtered by nature and Mother Earth, and so blessed to have our own water source and be water off grid. We have a pool that I enjoy every day that has been built with a salt filter. We have a 1,000 square foot greenhouse pumping out kale and cabbage and bok choy and peppers and chilies and Malabar spinach and cilantro and tomatoes and all of these herbs and veggies and greens that you will enjoy when you come to visit. We have 1,000 pineapple plants planted that will start fruiting in about 6 months from now. We have over 100 banana plants of varieties called apple bananas, date bananas, plantains, Gros Michel, Cuadrado, praying hand banana, We have about 50 exotic fruit trees, everything from durian, cacao, mangosteen, meringue, avocado, oranges, kumquats, limes, jaboticaba, tea plants, our own tea. We have sugar cane. We have sweet potato. We have yucca. We have mucuna. We have chacruna, which is half of the ingredient to ayahuasca medicine. We have lemongrass. We have hibiscus. We have basil. We have chocolate mint. We have spearmint. We have stevia. We have golden berries. We have grapes. We have sacha inchi nuts. We have a wild orchid nursery. We have Cuban oregano. We have onions. We have jewel of opar spinach. We have broccoli. So many amazing plants that Natalia and I have cultivated and are cultivating with love to feed ourselves and our family we're building. We have beans, we have cowpeas, we got garbanzos, we got frijole palo. Oh, I love our plants so much. And we're growing them all to make products and sell them and eat them ourselves, and our farm is going amazing. We are building cabins right now. We just finished designing our first cabin, and construction starts this week, and it's a 2-month build. So starting in March or April, literally business is open, and I'll have a calendar somewhere on a website or on my Instagram where you can come and rent out a cabin to live on our land as a little vacation, or by the month, or by the 3 months, or by the week. Prices for our first cabin and it's a small little cabin but fully self-sufficient, with your own bed and your own private bathroom and shower and your own little cooking area, and fiber optic high-speed internet, which just came into our town, which is such a blessing. So it's just a perfect little traveler house for you to rent with you or a couple. And it's going to be $600 per month or $200 per week. Spring water, high-speed internet, incredible mountain views, 2,000 feet up in the mountains, but a 20-minute drive on a paved road down to the beach, or 20 minutes in the other direction, interior into the mountains, to a Costa Rican city called San Isidro de General, where you can get all your amenities that you need. I plan on having our first retreat on the land in about 6 to 8 months from now. And it's all happening. And then right when we're done building the cabin, which is just for 1 or 2 people, I'm going to build like the hostel, which is just going to be kind of more communal living with like 10 or 6 bunk beds and a shared kitchen. So if you want an even cheaper option and come live on our land, but sleep in bunk beds around other travelers and people, but still have a shared shower, bathroom, kitchen, fridge. You can really live here based on your economic opportunity or level that you want to spend experiencing our land. We're going to have options for all that, and we're just doing it all in the next few months. Maggie's doing amazing. How's my Magdalena, baby girl? So that's the morning sadhana. It's the start of 2021. Thank you for listening. Please comment something to be a part of this community and interact with me. I've been posting a lot on Patreon, and people have been becoming patrons, and I'm very grateful for that. So what do I have on my Patreon? It's for $2 or $5 per month. You get access to a lot of yoga flows. I do yoga on my mat every single day, and a lot of the times I film the whole thing and post it on Patreon. So if you need some instruction or guidance in your yoga practice for just $5 a month, you support us on our farm endeavors here, and you can push play on my yoga flow and follow along, and I'm a yoga teacher, and do yoga with me. And then I post the Plantreon podcast now. There's a few episodes already up, and I'm doing a podcast where I get deep into shit, into personal stuff, self-help, and I post it exclusively on Patreon now. So please go support. $2 or $5 a month, and you get access to more content. Much love. Dream extreme. Tell me what you want from us in 2021. What kind of videos? Cooking videos, talk to camera videos. Do you want to see more of Natalia? Do you want morning sadhanas like this, where I just literally take the topics that are inspiring me that day and bring them together in this mishmash type of video? If you go support me on Patreon, if you give a thumbs up to this video, if you subscribe to my channel and I see the love coming in, I will be more inspired to do stuff like this. So much love, Dream Extreme. Thank you. Let's do it. Let's be positive. Much love, Dream Extreme. That's all we can say, Maggie.